We are Fandom Roulette.
Two nerds with a passion for
History,
video games,
tabletop games,
and, well, really any nerdy stuff that comes into our lives.
While we might not be able to name every ship classification in Star Wars,
Or every Pokemon.
or every spell in the player's handbook,
Well, one of us can.
we're still here to have a good time.
Hey everyone, welcome to Fandom Roulette. This is Joe.
And I'm Cody.
And on Fandom Roulette, this is a podcast where we talk about a myriad of nerdy things, including such things as history, video games, tabletop role-playing games, and any other nerdy things that we might want to talk about on any given week from time to time. Hey, Cody, how have you been, my dude?
I've been well. I have a question for you today.
No.
Oh, okay.
Hey, what's your question?
So, I thought I'd start a new bit where instead of just recapping what we've done for the past couple weeks, I'm going to pose a question in theme of video games, since this is the video games section.
Interesting.
Are you familiar with Metal Gear Solid 3?
I am.
Have you ever been concerned that one day you will have to fight the sorrow and slowly walk past all of the victims that you've killed in your life's path?
Like me, Joe, personally?
Yes.
Okay, so by all the victims,
Yes.
is it like, does that include like houseflies and stuff?
Yes. Everything you've slain.
Okay, so that would be like a lot of houseflies
Yeah.
and some ants and probably a bee or two.
Yeah.
No humans.
Okay.
One goldfish.
Oh, man.
It was accidental. I poured too much food into the bowl. Yeah, I can fight the sorrow.
How dare you?
I could fight the sorrow. Okay, wait, time out. Did you ever watch Sesame Street Elmo's World?
No, I don't. I mean, I'm familiar with Sesame Street, but it was not a cartoon, or it was not a show that I frequented as a child.
Okay, I think this happened. My sister was still young when they gave Elmo's a little spinoff. It was like a whole thing, and he was feeding his fish, and he like jumped a whole thing in there, and I accidentally poured too much fish food into my sister's bowl, and it did not work out well.
So what you're telling me is
I bought her
Elmo inspired just an entire planet of murdering goldfish in bowls because
and now if this was a visual medium, we would insert that gif of Elmo with the flames behind him.
Yeah. Well, now I'm imagining the sorrow being Elmo in like a black coat, just like floating behind as like goldfish swim slowly towards you, and you have to like outmaneuver them.
Sorrow loves you. Tickle me, sorrow.
I'd imagine it being in like three different tones.
And
like
Sorrow's
Satan.
world.
Sorrow loves his goldfish, his crayons too. That's Sorrow's world.
I can't wait to alter this.
Oh, are you gonna make it all like warbled and shit?
Oh, absolutely. Slow it down.
So hey, Amy, this is going out of this zone, but hey, we did that in the history section. It's my dream to play a Muppet-born warlock.
Ooh. Yeah. And who
because I already know what my one incantation was going to be. Like when I do some dark deed for my patron, I'm just gonna be like, it's time to play the music. It's time to light the lights. It's time to summon the patron on the Muppet Show tonight. Anyway, the sorrow was Elmo. Headcanon confirmed. Oh my god, dude! I put so much thought into this Muppet-born warlock.
Yes.
Yeah, because Muppets are agents of chaos, as are warlocks.
It's true. It's true.
Well, is your warlock an agent of chaos?
In the campaign that I'm in,
Oh wait, I don't know how much you can disclose about this.
Without getting into any spoilers, she is not I mean,
she's not an agent of chaos.
Right. Like, I think naturally she is chaotic, but I don't think she's like, yeah, I'm an agent of chaos. Sure. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, she just is. Like, that's just the unfortunate truth about her.
Fair enough.
Without getting into too many details.
Hey, Cody, what video game are you going to tell me about this week?
Video game, I'm going to talk about Stoneshard.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a early access game. Came out February 6th. I streamed it a couple weeks ago. So if you want to take a look at what the game is, it's like fun pixel art. It kind of reminds me of like old like Fire Emblem Game Boy Advance days, those kinds of graphics, but it is a tactical RPG by Inkstains Games. And it launched earlier this month, and holy shit, it's a lot. It's super tactical. Like, I put tactical in big, bold, underlined italics letters when I'm thinking about this game. And that's kind of what turned me on to the game, because like I've played a lot of games that are like, you know, it's like, okay, like it's easy, and I beat it. It didn't really challenge me, so I was like, you know what, let's fucking get gritty and nasty. And I found this game, and it was just like I was feeling that vibe in that moment, so I played it, and it is a lot. It's early access, so not all the features are there. Lots of stuff, but it's all turn-based. Every action, movement, etc. is a turn. And, you know, health isn't... Like, when I say tactical, it's like health is not easy. It's not as easy as, like, you know, just eating food or drinking a health potion, although those exist to a certain degree. But, like, if you're bleeding, you have to bring bandages with you to stop the bleeding. If you break your leg or your arm, which is like a thing that can happen depending on what type of weapon there is, like, you need splints and herbal remedies to heal your broken limbs.
That's kind of interesting. That's not something I'm used to in video games.
It's like, and it's not things like you can ignore. Like, if you don't heal these things, you gain a status effect or a debuff called pain, and the pain gets worse, and there's like several stages of it, and eventually it'll get to the point where like your maximum health will continue to drop. So it's like you can't not deal with these things. And there's hunger and thirst, and like if you get, the more dehydrated you get, the worse you get. You know, you have to like give yourself splints and herbal remedies and stuff, but like the only way to get rid of pain is to use herbs or to drink alcohol. And alcohol has certain, you know, natural drawbacks, like being intoxicating. So it's like, you know, taking care of yourself is like half the battle. Saving can only be done at inns when you're sleeping. So there's not like the quick save/save scumming that I know that I personally indulge myself in.
Sure.
You have psyche, so like you basically have a sort of morale and sanity meter, and it's like 4 boxes. Like if you have high morale and high sanity, there's a chance that you get a buff that like makes you hit harder or makes you run faster and things like that. But there's also the negatives to those. So like if you have low morale but high sanity, like you'll get certain debuffs that like don't help you. So you also have to pay attention to your you know, your mental gain, and like you fix those with herbs and drinking and all those other things. While currently there's only 4 like kind of preset archetype characters, the appeal of the game is going to be that you can create your own game, or your own character rather. And, you know, there's so many different skill trees already. Like, each weapon has its own skill tree that you can, like, dip into. Like, I was really digging the daggers and bows. Because, like, one of the bow features is that you can spend a turn to, like, gain accuracy so that you can hit better. Or, you know, you're more accurate. There's a cool, like, dagger move where, like, you jump forward and you hit... you can hit with both knives if you've got two knives in your hands. It's a super like, there's lots of layers sitting on top of each other, lots of different stats. Melee is definitely really brutal, because there aren't a lot of ways to outrun your opponents. If you get into a bad situation as a melee character, you're kind of dead. And one of the big things about the game is there's a Iron Man mode, which, if you're familiar with games, it's basically, if you die, that's it. Your game gets erased and you play a new character. And so that's what I did on the stream, to, like, basically test all the different weapons and skills and the different characters. And the magic's really cool. The only two that I could play with during the initial starting areas was pyromancy and geomancy. And IMO, geomancy feels like a support class, so it's, like, not good to start off as a geomancer. Pyromancy's super good. It's like fireballs and blowing shit up. There's mana, so, like, you also have to, like, be mindful of, like, casting your spells. And overall, I had a really good experience with the game. So, unfortunately, that means there's a but at the end of this. Basically, this is really early access. The game's nowhere near finished. You can go look up their roadmap. Like I said, custom character creation isn't even out, and it's might not even be planned till 2021. Although, fingers crossed, I hope that character creation comes earlier than that.
Okay.
But they're planning on adding a bunch of new stuff, or just a bunch of different stuff, like completing the game. They're gonna have factions that you can work with. It's open world, so, like, every time you make a new game, the world, like, it's procedurally generated. Like, you're not always in the same spot, and the map is not always the same. Even when I was playing, like, even the names of things were different.
Ooh,
so, like,
that's fun.
Yeah, so, like, there was, like, and I was expecting the quests to also be the same, because the game starts you off like, hey, complete 3 quests for the guy in the town, and we can get a horse and carriage. And that's kind of the end of the early access. So I was like, oh, cool. So, like, I died, and then I was like, all right, I'll go play again. And I was expecting the same quests, the same dungeon, but no, I actually had to go to a different place with a different name and complete an entirely different objective. So that's super cool. So it does feel like a different game every time you're playing it. I'm excited because they're gonna, you know, not only are they gonna, like, have a full game, but they're working on a devotion god system where you can work with a deity or something. I don't know. It's kind of vague. It sounds like one god with multiple aspects that you can, like, work into. There's going to be new enemies. They're working on the current update, or what's it called? Their first major content update is basically called Troll Slayer. So there's going to be some trolls.
I like that.
Yeah, there's going to be new skill trees, all sorts, like, and like I said, there's all sorts of stuff. Like, the health system isn't just, like, health and your mana. It's like hunger, thirst, pain, toxicity. You can get, like, sick, and like, when it rains, you get buffs and debuffs to certain things that make sense. Like, if someone were to cast a lightning spell at you, it'd probably hurt a little more. and like fire spells don't do as much in the rain for obvious reasons. Like there's a lot of cool layers that are put on this game, which make it really makes every choice when combat starts matter. 'Cause like there's not a really good way to run away unless you've already got distance. So like you really have to make you got to pick the right skills, you got to do the right stuff. There is room to, I think they advertise, and I'd have to find it, but they're advertising like 200 plus skills that are going to be in the official release of the game. So like there's going to be tons of like different builds, and I'm really excited about this game. Bad news is that, like I said, there's a lot of stuff that's not coming out till 2021. Character creation or custom character creation being one of them, which is a huge bummer to me because I really want to try, those hybrid builds or those weird builds of like, oh, I wonder what it would be like to be like a sneaky dagger guy, but also shoot lightning out of my hands or, whatever weird shit that I'm into. Stealth is still not a real big aspect of the game yet, although it will be. So it's very early access. You can try the game out for free on Steam by just typing in Stoneshard. They have a prologue where you basically get to try going through a dungeon as a NPC that you work with in the actual game. And it's got a really cool boss fight at the end, and you get to they give you enough options to like try out any build in the prologue. It looks like they have like, it's a medieval fantasy, so there's like different races. Like one of the pre-gen characters is a dwarf, and it kind of sounds like from like their descriptions that they're Nordic themed, which is pretty cool. I'm really excited about this game, but unfortunately, it's probably a long time before the game comes out, which is a huge bummer, but at the same time, it's like, you can get in right now for real cheap, and the prologue plus, like, what's already available, like, I had so much fun in, like, the 4 hours that I got to play, and I'm excited to keep playing it, which isn't something I usually say about,
early releases.
These like really hard tactical games. Usually I get tired of them.
Yeah. No, especially like, I don't know, man. Iron Man modes scare me.
It was rough. I literally created a character. Got all my quests, went around town, made sure I had like the items I needed. Literally walked north of town. There was a bear right next to me that one-shot me as soon as I, like, moved.
Well then. Oh boy.
Yeah, it was pretty rough. The game's hard. I don't know if that's, like, intentional, that there's, like, bears that kind of roam around the main city that can one-shot you, but, like, yeah, game's pretty rough. You don't have to play Iron Man mode, but I was so that I could get a feel for it. There is a save system, but it's pretty rough, because you only save at every inn.
Okay.
So, like, if you go out to a dungeon and you're like, oh, shit, I know the boss is behind this door, you can't, like, save right before the boss and then try to play it out. Like, you have to basically make the entire trip all over again.
Ugh.
So.
Okay, that part doesn't sound quite as fun.
Yeah, and so...
Give me a bonfire right outside of boss battles.
Right? Yeah, I need that.
See, I know some video game things.
Yeah, the Dark Souls bonfire. I'm familiar with this concept.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's super cool. Do you have any questions for me about Stoneshard?
Where were you playing it? Like, was this on Steam or?
Yes, it came out on Steam. If you search Stoneshard and Stoneshard Prologue, you can play the prologue absolutely free. It's a demo, and I would if this interested you in any way, I recommend the demo because it does a really good job at showing you how the game works, how turn-based in a open environment is, because it's not like your traditional Final Fantasy turn-based, like you get into a random battle. It's like imagine the top-down Fire Emblem, but as an open world, and every time you move or make an action, everyone also moves and does an action. Like it can be a little jarring at first, but it's fun.
Yeah, no, it sounds really interesting. I'd be curious to hear more about it when it gets a little bit further along. So,
yeah, and if you want more gameplay, like if the prologue isn't enough, you can check out on YouTube and on Twitch for the time being my playthrough of the first 4 hours of the game, where I got absolutely manhandled in a couple of different builds that I went for. But yeah, you can check us out there.
Yeah, sounds good. Anything else?
No, that's it.
All right, excellent. Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you like what you hear and you want to hear more or engage more or anything along those lines, there are lots of ways to do that. Hey Cody, can you tell us about some of those ways, please?
Absolutely. The main and most important one is you can go to our website at www.fandomroulette.com. It's got pretty much everything you need. It's got every episode. It's got bios. It's any content that we're rolling out gets rolled out there first. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, there's a little area where if you don't like to give out your email to random strangers on the internet who tell you to give you their emails, I get it. That sounds like a scam. So if you don't want to do that, you can go to the bottom of our website and send us, fan mail or fan recommendations or feedback. If you like if you're liking the streams or if you're liking what you're listening to right now, feel free to give us a little fan email. We would greatly appreciate that. And then underneath that is all of our social links. Because guess what? We're on those social medias. You can find us on the Twitter at fandomr_podcast, where if you're looking to find out when I stream, since this is the video game section, you will find notifications there. We're also on Facebook and Instagram, all at Fandom Roulette. And if you're looking to share this with friends and they're not like cool on going to websites and stuff like that, we're on iTunes, we're on SoundCloud, Google Play, Spotify, YouTube, and pretty much any of the podcast catchers out there. We are there under Fandom Roulette.
Yeah. Also, please rate, review, subscribe, ring the bell.
Smash that bell for notifications about when new content comes out.
Tell a friend.
Share
the love.
Exactly.
Etc. I'm not yawning through the ending. What are you talking about?
No, you're definitely not yawning, but everything that you the fans do to help spread the love of Fandom Roulette is more help that we need to continue doing this and doing fun new projects and continuing to do the podcast. And we appreciate any and all of you who are helping out. We love you.
I agree. But thank you so much for listening. And signing off for Fandom Roulette, this is Joe.
And I'm Cody.
And as always, stay nerdy.
Stay super nerdy.